All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Cynthia. I'm with Gentle Love Doula, and I'm here with.
My name is Bethany Kirilov, and I am an herbal certified doula for both postpartum and birth. I am also a licensed placenta encapsulator and on and off birth assistant. And I've been doing this for a number of years now, off and on, so probably about 4 or 5 years, give or take. I've attended quite a few births, both in hospital and at home and in the birth centers. And so that's the basis of my experience.
Okay. So I'm here with Bethany, and she's going to tell us her home birth story and give us a little bit of insight from her experience. So if you want to go ahead and tell me your birth story, and then I'll ask you questions afterwards.
So I actually have a few of them to choose from. So I have 3 kids. All of them were born out of hospital. The first one was in a birth center. The next 2 were also out of hospital, not in my house, but were considered home births.
Yeah.
So that is a thing that I actually like to tell a lot of people. A home birth doesn't just have to happen in your house.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are having an issue with other people living in your space, not having enough space, or if for some reason your house isn't desirable, a lot of people will rent out an Airbnb. They will go to a hotel, and they have plenty of great experiences there too for home births.
Yeah.
My home births were attended by a midwife. I do intend to have an unassisted birth at some point because I had such great experiences with them. I like to have the midwife because she was very hands-off. She was very friendly, and she really helped me through my experience. I guess I can go with my first story. So my first kid, and the first kid's usually kind of a little bit harder. You don't know what to expect yet, and it's a little bit scary. And so I was in labor for probably about 6 or 7 hours with him, and I did tear a little bit. And he was a pretty hard push because he was my first baby, but it was so amazing to realize that I did that without pain medication. I did that on my own terms with my own power. And that was such an empowering experience because I didn't need help with that.
Yeah.
So babies aren't delivered, pizzas are delivered.
So what led you to decide to have a home birth or a birth at a birthing center?
Honestly, my own research into like the statistics and such. So low risk women have a much better experience, statistically speaking, out of the hospital than they do in the hospital. If you are a low risk woman, you're not sick. Pregnancy is not a sickness. You don't need a doctor. You can do it. You can do it yourself. You can get some reading under your belt about things that could go wrong and have a good game plan for all of those potential issues. And then you can go on to have a really wonderful birth all by yourself. Or you can have a midwife there that can take care of that part for you if you're not comfortable with managing your own potential emergencies.
Yeah.
And it's just so much better for a woman that is not sick to stay out of the hospital, especially during COVID-19, because she's not walking through a hospital, she's not walking outside, and she's not coming into contact with dozens of people that might be on her care team at a hospital.
Yeah, true. What fears did you have going into a home birth?
So I suppose the fears that I had were probably pretty similar to what most people have. I mean, what if something goes wrong and I need to transfer to the hospital? Will there be time? What if my baby needs extra care? And then I learned that midwives are also just as qualified as doctors to perform NRP. They can intubate, they can offer oxygen, they can do any of those things that a doctor can do to help a baby along that might be having a lot of trouble getting started. Most babies just need a little bit of stimulation and a little bit of air, and they're good to go, and they start up all on their own. It's very rare for a baby to need chest compressions or intubation, especially in a low-risk pregnancy. And so another issue I probably worried about was, what if I tear? But that was my first time too, so I didn't realize that a tear is generally not a very big deal. It can easily be repaired. There's even women that have had unassisted births that have torn, and they either let the tear heal naturally if it's a small one, or they just go to the hospital to go have it stitched up after the fact, and it's no big deal. I know tearing sounds like a big deal, but it's really not as scary as it
Yeah,
sounds.
it's really not. It's really
It's
not.
not. No. And
Um,
I did bleed a little bit with my home births, especially the first two, but they gave me a little bit of Pitocin since I had the midwife there. It's something that could have easily been managed with shepherd's purse or Angelica if I was by myself, and it was no big deal. It was averted pretty quickly.
okay, awesome. And what helped you get through those fears? Like, what did you do? Any research on it? What was the things that helped you the most to get through those fears that you had?
You know, I read a whole lot. I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of movies, The Business of Being Born, Spiritual Midwifery, all those textbooks and just biographies about midwives and management of labor. And those really, really helped me a lot. And I joined a few groups on Facebook too that are into unassisted and midwife home birth. And those really helped give me ideas for all the different things that could possibly go wrong. And they would help me to feel quite a lot better.
Okay, awesome. Um, what did your partner think of you having a home birther in the birthing center?
He was actually totally on board with it from the get-go. I think he just knew that was something I always wanted to do anyways. I mean, he was a little bit nervous about it too, I suppose, as everybody is, because what if
Yeah.
something goes wrong? But it is so rare that a transfer is needed instantaneously. There's
Yeah.
usually quite a bit of warning leading up to it, so you kind of know that something's not going right and I'm going to need a transfer. So that helped him to feel a little bit better too, that we'd have at least an hour
Awesome.
notice. It's
Yeah.
very rare to need to go now. So I think that really helped him to feel better. And I would just verbally dump on him all the time, all the things that I had learned. And so now he's a good little feminist all about the home birth too.
That's funny. And what helped him besides your information? Did he do any research? What helped him overcome those fears?
So I think what helped him a lot was that he was looking at home births on YouTube. So he just watched like a whole bunch of birth videos with me and without me just to see how it worked, because he had never been to a birth before the first time. He had no idea what to expect, and so he would watch those videos on YouTube to see and understand the mechanics of how it happens, like the noises the woman makes, the things she's feeling, what the room is like, and then watching the descent and rotation of the baby, and then the baby comes out and all is well and good. So I think that watching a lot of successful home births on YouTube even just, it helped him so much because he understood how it worked.
That's awesome. I can't get my husband to watch videos, but he's been supportive too.
Well, that's good.
What did your family have any fears or any thoughts about it?
Oh, absolutely. My mom and dad and I at the time were having some trouble with each other, and so they thought that home birth was dangerous because my mother had 2 cesareans in the hospital in the late 80s, early 90s. So she thought that birth had to happen in the hospital because the doctor will save your life if something goes wrong. And I think that was just a result of her raising and the culture at the time. And, so she was really concerned. And I know that she was operating from a place of trying to help me, but she threatened to call OCS on me if I had a home birth. But what they didn't realize is midwives are completely qualified, and it is 100% legal to have your baby either by yourself or with a midwife anywhere in the US, outside of a hospital, inside of a hospital. You can have your baby wherever you like.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what did she think afterwards? Like, what was her mindset afterwards?
So she didn't say a whole lot about it afterwards, but she's gone on to watch me have 3 successful out of hospital birth experiences, and I think that's kind of helped her realize that it's not as dangerous and scary as it sounds, and that midwives are not uneducated lay people that cannot hold together a good sentence.
I truly hope that this was healing for her as well, because I've been through a C-section myself.
Yes.
So I know that fear. So I hope it's been healing for her as well.
she was told that her pelvis is too small to push her baby out. And so she thought the same thing would happen to me.
Yeah.
And so did all of my aunts. And it turned out to not be true. And later I told them pelvimetry is just an estimation. And there is no way to tell if a baby will be able to fit out of your pelvis or not without trying. Like, it's very, very rare for them to not fit.
I was told the same thing, but I ended up having a VBAC right after. And so I was lied to. I ended up having a C-section, and I even attempted, but I was induced. But I ended up having a VBAC literally 12 months afterwards. So it was amazing.
So, well, good for you. Go VBAC.
I've had 2 hospital VBACs and then 1 home birth and then my C-section. So I have 4 kids.
That's amazing.
So
cool.
It's been pretty awesome, and it's been healing for me as well. Is there anything, looking back at your home births, is there anything that you regret or would like to change from either one of them?
Honestly, there isn't a whole lot I would want to change. I mean, I guess if I had to pick one thing, it was that my midwives were taught very active management of the delivery of the placenta. So they do the whole fundal massage, which hurts quite a bit, by the way, if you've ever had that done. Yep. And then the supporting with the upper hand while providing pulling on the cord to get the placenta out. I almost kind of wish that I would have just let it be and then done it myself.
Yeah.
That's a pretty small bone to pick if I'm thinking about it, though. It wasn't too bad. It didn't traumatize me or anything, but it's something I kind of wish would have been different.
And what advice in that aspect, what advice do you have for moms today for that situation?
So let nature take its course. Your placenta can take up to an hour to come out. And if you're not bleeding severely and feeling pale and faint, then you're good. And honestly, herbs can really help to push that placenta out too. Shepherd's purse and angelica are good for everything postpartum. The bleeding and expelling the placenta. Cottonroot bark is really good for that too. You can get those at the herbal stores.
Yeah, you can. You can also look for doulas. They may have tinctures that you can buy or purchase from them. So that's also another option for moms.
Yes.
What tips do you have for moms and dads? Maybe you can separate it for moms and dads if you'd like, but what tips do you have for them to plan a home birth?
So planning a home birth, I think reading a lot really, really helps. So look for books that favor home birth. A book that actually really helped me. I know Ina May Gaskin is kind of controversial in the birth community, but I really liked Guide to Childbirth. That really helped me feel prepared for my home births. I felt like it helped me understand birth is a normal experience. So that is something that maybe both a mom and a dad can really do to help prepare. And looking at the supplies you might need. So looking at birth supply shops online is a good place because you can get some good ideas for birth supplies you might need on the cheap even. So instead of getting a fitted waterproof sheet, you could get a shower curtain or something.
Yeah.
Just look at supplies you might need to help you feel more prepared. You can try talking to a doula or a midwife for their ideas on how to help have a good home birth. Preparing for a home birth is really as easy as just acknowledging a baby is going to come, and you can have that baby on your bathroom floor. No fuss, no muss. I mean, a home birth is really just stay home and stay in your element and stay in your power. And it's really just an amazing experience. I can't even begin to explain to you how awesome it was to have my home birth and just to stay home and just get right in bed with my brand new baby.
Yeah. I have to vouch. A home birth is really amazing.
It is.
This is going to be the last question. What tips do you have for parents who are on the fence between a home birth and a hospital birth?
So if you're on the fence, I guess if I was on the fence, I would personally be doing a lot of research. So what would make a home birth a good choice for me? So I would need to look at what are the statistics of it. I'd look at my own personal pregnancy. Am I a low risk pregnancy? Is everything going well? Is this something that I feel competent handling on my own? And if not, what can I do to help myself feel competent handling this on my own, either with a midwife or by myself? So I would do a lot of research and a lot of reading. There's some great textbooks out there. I've got probably like 10 midwives textbooks in my house right now. I have read so much, but that has really, really helped me to learn a whole lot about the birth process and how to handle it to where I feel comfortable giving birth on my own, either unassisted or with a midwife there.
Yes, yes, awesome. Do you have any resources that mothers and fathers can look at?
So evidence-based birth is a really good one for looking at like birth emergencies and ways to handle them. I really, really liked my training organization as a doula. It's called Herbal Birthkeeping. Shout out to them. They are so cool, and they really helped me to prepare to serve women more fully. I really liked looking at the spiritual midwifery book because it has a lot of really good information on there as far as low risk women go. What are the chances of having a need for a C-section? And it's minuscule. It was something like the 150th birth or something like that she had to send for a C-section, and then 300 something after that over the course of a few years. So it's really, really low number to need a C-section during a home birth if you were a low risk mother just letting nature take its course.
Yes. I mean, even if you've had a C-section prior, it's still possible.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
just
still
having
very
a C-section
possible
before is not a death sentence. You can absolutely go on to have a wonderful VBAC at home.
Yep. All right. I think that's all the questions. And if you have anything to add, you can feel free to add.
Okay. I mean, I think we covered it. Your questions were really good. I hope I answered them well. I kind of get off on rabbit trails sometimes.
I'm the same way. Well, I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and then we can just chat for a little bit longer. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
All righty.